Hola chicos! So, at this point we have learned indirect and direct object pronouns. So, today it's time to move on to double object pronouns. So, the question is, what do we do when we combine direct object pronouns and indirect object pronouns in one sentence? So, that's what we're going to find out right now. So in Spanish, our direct object pronouns and indirect object pronouns appear before the conjugated verb. So if you're wondering what the order is, I'll tell you right now. It is ID. Okay, ID, you can remember like identification. Okay, so I is your indirect first, and then D is your direct. So let's look at an example. La camarera trajo el caldo a Juan y a mí. Okay, the waitress brought the soup or the broth to Juan and me. Okay, so your first step is to identify the direct object. So you can ask yourself, okay, what's the verb? Trajo. Okay, ¿qué trajo? What did she bring? El caldo. So, el caldo is our direct object. Now, next, we have to figure out our indirect object. So, who indirectly received the action of the soup being brought? The answer is Juan and me. So, for both of these, we now have to figure out what pronoun will replace them. El caldo is a singular masculine thing, so we would say lo. Juan and me, as a group, are nos. Now that we have both of the pronouns that we need, we can combine these two and write a sentence. So, nos is the first pronoun that will appear, and lo will follow it directly after. So, when we put it together, we have la camarera nos lo trajo. So, this says la camarera brought it to us. So, nos is our indirect, and lo is our direct. So we have a couple options for placement depending on what the structure and type of sentence is that we're working with. So if we have a conjugated verb that appears with an infinitive or a verb in the NDO form, which would be either ando or yendo, you can either put the pronouns before the conjugated verb or you can combine and attach them. So let's see what that would look like before the conjugated verb. Me los vas a pedir. You're going to order them for me. So in this situation, we have me, our indirect, and los, our direct, ID. We could also combine and attach me and los to the verb pedir. So that would look like vas a pedírmelos. You're going to order them for me. Again, ID. Me los estás pidiendo. You are ordering them for me. We still have our same order, and the pronouns are placed directly before the conjugated verb. Estás pidiéndomelos. You're ordering them for me. Again, we keep I and D in the same order. Now, you'll notice that while we have two options for the placement in these cases, they mean exactly the same thing. There's not one that is preferred over the other. It's whatever you feel most comfortable with. The last thing is if we are combining and attaching our pronouns, we have to put an accent to maintain the original stress of the verb. Okay, you can't léelo, you have to sélo. So this was something that my teacher always said to me when I was learning double object pronouns. The rule here is that if both pronouns start with the letter L, you have to change the indirect object pronoun to se. So whether it's les or le, it would change to se. So if we have the example, ¿le puedes llevar el té a esa mujer? We would usually have puedes llevarlelo because esa mujer is being replaced by le and te is being replaced by lo. But because Spanish is all about how natural and how natural the words sound next to one another and how much of a nice flow they have, we get rid of the le and we replace it with se. So puedes llevárselo is easier to pronounce and sounds nicer than puedes llevarlelo. If we have le pedí la cuenta al camarero, I asked the waiter for the check, we would usually have le la pedí. But again, we replace le with se and we end up with se la pedí. I asked him for it. Now, these rules can apply when we connect pronouns to commands, no matter what kind of command they are. So just a few weeks ago, we learned about pronoun placement with commands, specifically with usted commands. So let's look at a couple examples. If we want to use a tú command, we would say lleva el té a esa mujer. Llévaselo. So just like we learned a few weeks ago, the affirmative commands attach the pronouns to the end, and then we add an accent to maintain the stress. If we have an usted command, we would say lleve el té a esa mujer, or lléveselo. Lastly, if we have an ustedes command, we would say lleven el té a esa mujer. Llévenselo. Now, all of these can also work with negative commands. So, for example, if we took the usted command, lléveselo, we could make it no se lo lleve. Or if we take llévenselo, we can make it no se lo lleven. Okay? Either way, the pronouns go in this order all the time. So right now, I'll ask you to pause this video and work on this writing activity. When you come back, I'll give you the answers. Okay, so number 1 would be vamos a servírselo a todos, or se lo vamos a servir a todos. Number 2 is vamos a dársela a la señora, or se la vamos a dar a la señora. Number 3 is vamos a traérselos a esos hombres, or se los vamos a traer a esos hombres. 4 is vamos a traérselas al chico, or se las vamos a traer al chico. 5 is vamos a ponérselo a la abuela, or se lo vamos a poner a la abuela. 6 is vamos a dársela a los padres, or se la vamos a dar a los padres. You might notice that all of these contain a additional phrase on the end that's not always necessary. For example, a todos, a la señora, a esos hombres. In all of these cases, these are serving to clarify. So because se can refer to él or ella or usted or ellos or Juan y María, we need often a clarifying phrase. That being said, those aren't always necessary if the subject you're referring to has already been mentioned and you know what you're talking about. So, hopefully now you better understand double object pronouns. Hasta luego.